All right, welcome everybody. Good to see you again, Wally. How you doing today?
Always a pleasure, sir.
All right, so for those who don't know, I got my good buddy Wally from Trigger Sales System that's going to discuss today. We're going to cover circle prospecting. It's a topic that a lot of realtors in my office have been bringing up lately because we have such a shortage of inventory, and they're wondering the best ways to call these sellers, where to get the information and all that. So, but before I do that, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and kind of share. Wally actually helped me grow my sales team. Is an expert in the industry and the best, in my opinion, on the phones, discussing script, handling objections, and everything. So if you ever see any stuff with him, get involved, listen. It will help your business. So, Wally, share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Texas. I'm from New Hampshire originally. I've been in the real estate industry for 25 years now. I've been coaching agents for 22 of those years. Over that period of time, I've done a little over 40,000 one-on-one coaching calls, live trainings, video trainings. And so I've had a good opportunity to work with some of the best agents in the country and actually Canada too, just like you. I just recently I published a book last September, and I'm second one coming out in July called Six Figure Agent: How to Make Your First Six Figures in Real Estate. So I'm super excited about that. Last Thanksgiving, I had the good opportunity to be on a TV show called Times Square Today. It was on the four major channels, just talking about what I do and how I help people. So it's been pretty exciting, and I do full service real estate coaching, but last couple of years I've really gotten into what helps people overcome call reluctance and the other issues that keep them from having successful real estate businesses.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. First and foremost, I guess for agents that are looking, to get into circle prospecting, in your opinion, when should they start that? In general, in the evolving of a realtor, right? A lot of agents start as a buyer's agent, then they go to the listing side. I feel circle's a pretty good one to start with over expireds and for sale by owners.
Yeah, I would say once you've 30, 60 days doing buyers where you get the marbles out of your mouth, you can have a reasonable phone call with somebody. I think circle prospecting is the best place because it's actually, believe it or not, people do talk to you. It's an easy script that you're going to see. It's not hard. It helps you get the marbles out of your mouth. And it's a way to start having conversations with people, even though they may not be looking to do something. The great thing about circle prospecting is that it does help you meet people who aren't quite ready to do something. And if you recall, like kind of between COVID and probably midway through 2022, we were having trouble finding people to sell homes. Even though we sold a stupid number of homes, it was hard to find somebody and be ahead of them. So circle prospecting gives you the opportunity to start a relationship and then build that relationship with people so that you're pretty much the only one standing. If you look at what NAR says on he or she who gets there first is the winner. Ideally, if you can get in touch with somebody via circle prospecting and stay in touch with them, get them set up with a market report, call them at appropriate times, prior to when they said, when they said they were going to move, you've got a legit chance of being the agent that they go to when it's time for them to sell their home.
Yeah. So with that, I guess I'll share, in my opinion, some of the best sites for data. In general, there's the freeway, right? You can look up on whitepages.com and all the other, people finders and everything else.
Yep.
Or an old phone book. If like I'm in a town here where they come out with a VFW book every year with all the owners that and their home numbers.
What's a phone book?
What's that? Yeah, exactly. So, but they're still there, right? So that's the freeway. Then you have sites like Land Voice, RedX, Espresso Agent, Mojo Dialer, I think CoreLogic,
Vulcan 7. Yep.
Yeah, Vulcan 7. Even now, Quantum Mail, which is one of the things we use for like just listed, just sold cards, with the order, they'll add the phone numbers. So if you just listed or just sold an area, or just postcard a street or two, you can buy the phone numbers with it. So, for the agents looking to find the data, that's where you kind of get the data. And a couple of things that I recommend when it comes to dealing with circle, if you're going to circle an area, you might want to farm it. And to me, a good way to farm a neighborhood at first, right? A lot of people walk and knock doors and stuff. I don't personally walk and knock doors, but if I were to do anything like that, I would start with some sort of a, donation, a charity, like, hey, leave something on their doorstep that says, hey, I'm going to come back, I'm picking up coats for the winter, food drive, in the fall, whatever it is, find something to introduce yourself and do something for the community. And that's a great conversation versus, just handing out cards down the street. With that, cold call behind it, right? Circle dial right behind it. Say, hey, I'm coming down the street. You're going to see something on your door, or I dropped something on your door. I'm the guy. Just wanted you to know I'm going to come back in 2 weeks and pick up if you happen to have anything.
That helps you with the do not call registry too, because if you drop something off, you can call and follow up on it.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. Also, there's also Coal Resource Directory. It's now called Coal Information.
Okay.
No, they've got lots of numbers you can get access to. It's the least expensive of all the options, but I do think you have to pay up front. It's about $1,000. It's like $9.95.
Okay.
So, but that's also an option too. So, and here's the thing, data is data for the most part, right? The people who are the companies that are doing this, they do lead augmentation. Their system searches for people's names and phone numbers and a variety of different resources and provides whatever phone numbers they can have. So, just know that not every number is going to be right, but that's part of the process. And that's kind of what, we figure conversion rates. I mean, for the most part, just about every lead source on the face of the planet is going to convert at about 1 to 3%. The only thing that really converts more than that are referrals, repeat business, and excuse me, and nurtures. So if you're nurturing a lead, it goes like 8%. So that's about it, though. I mean, that's kind of the rule there. But anyway, any of the resources that Matt just mentioned or coalinformation.com will give you more numbers you can shake a stick at. Plus, to your point, if you do a mailer or if you do drop something off, the great thing is that you're going to increase your conversion rate by 45%. So,
yeah,
it's pretty big deal.
I mean, I always say just put yourself in that seller's shoes, or that homeowner's shoes, right? They're not a seller yet. They just might be, just a person in the neighborhood, but you could land with the right person that knows everything about everybody and that make that become that nurturing client that gives you lots of information about the areas. So with that, I guess let's talk about the conversation. If you got a script, let's take a look and kind of go through it.
I might just happen to have one. Or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cover a bunch of different scripts here today. They're all a variation of this main one here. So much like working with a buyer, the goal is to kind of go in the back door here. And the thing that you and I talk about all the time is trying to fly under the radar with respect to what company you're with, just because people's ability to formulate a thought about you based upon what company you're telling you're from. So same thing here, hey Bob, this is Wally. I'm a real estate professional in the area. You like to say I'm a local realtor. I like to say, in this case, this one, especially real estate professional, because I'm really trying to be as in the back door as possible with this one, right? These people have no idea you're calling. As soon as they hear the word realtor, as soon as they hear the word real, Keller Williams, EXP, Coldwell Banker, it's bingo. So, hey, this is Wally. I'm a local real estate professional in the area. Hope you're having a great day. You don't have to say that. Okay. The reason I'm calling is because there's been a lot of interest in your neighborhood. I'm wondering who that might be thinking of making a move this year. Okay. If you don't want to say, there's been a lot of interest in your neighborhood, so we're still working with buyers who are looking for a good home like yours. There's a huge shortage of inventory. We're looking for good homes. You can say whatever you want there, but the whole point is you're trying to get in the door. Now, this is kind of a throwaway question, but there's a lot of strategy behind it. If we call somebody and ask them for something right out of the gate, they tend to be very resistant, right? So and again, we've said this before, it takes the average call recipient 10 to 30 seconds to realize that they do or do not know who you are. So this is a good way to get the call started, have a conversation with them, give them a chance to take their focus away from what they were doing and start talking to you. So, but hey, listen, I'm calling today because there's been a lot of interest in your neighborhood, and I'm wondering who that might be thinking of making a move this year. 9.5 times out of 10, they're not going to know anybody. Now they might, and if they do, see if you can get the person's information. If they can just tell you the address, even, you're good, because then you can go look all that stuff up, right? And they're going to say, no, hey, great. That's okay. Thanks for thinking about that for me. Just out of curiosity, when do you plan on moving? Okay, really important that you ask them when, right? Let's leave it open-ended. Let's not say, do you plan on moving? Okay. When do you plan on moving? Now, again, a lot of times they're not going to know. Or you're going to hear the next time I leave, I'm going to be here. They're going to be taking me out of here in a pine box. That's a pretty standard one, you know.
Yeah.
But two things: you are going to run into people who are moving down the road. I like a year or less. Okay, same thing with nurturing, just a year or less, because this is mostly a nurturing job anyway. We're going to have to stay on top of people for a while, right? So a
Yeah.
year or less here, and then and then so. But the other thing is there are going to be people that are moving at this time. So it's just a matter if you catch them at the right time or not.
I mean,
So,
it happened to me. My
yeah.
first listing was this similar script, and I just called the whole street. And then it's like, oh, we're interviewing realtors. And I was like, what? Wait, this works, you know?
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah. That's how you,
another variation of that question as well. What is it? If you were to make a move, when do you think that would be? If you
well,
were to
that's
make a move out of this neighborhood. And then another thing that gets neighbors to laugh is, do you have any neighbors that you don't like that, I might be able to send a postcard to see if they want to get out, if I can help get them out of the neighborhood? And
work
that'll
with
get a
you.
little small chuckle.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. So, and actually, your question is coming in a little bit, so which is actually great. You mentioned that. So, if they say no, then we're going to try and take another whack at the pinata in a moment. So, well, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? Where did you move from? How did you happen to pick this area? So, look, if you were to move, where would you go next? And let them find out and let them tell you, and then say, well, when would that be? Okay, you've built a little rapport here. Hopefully, you've softened their resolve. They're talking to you. Their defense shields are down, and so that's why we go back at it a second time. If they say, without question, they're not going to move. Hey, Bob, listen, I appreciate your time today. Once a month, I send a market update to some of your neighbors to help keep their finger on the pulse of the market. Would you like to receive that? I like to be assumptive. What's your best email? Instead of would you like to receive that? What's your best email? Not going to spam you. And then if yes, what's that email? And then super fantastic. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy the reports. We're not, you know what? There's only one person ever on the earth whose job it was to convert people, and that's Jesus Christ. So we're not converting people here, right? If they say no after, I'm saying if they say no, no problem. Thanks. Have a great day. That's it. We're just looking to build a pipeline of people that we can talk to on a consistent basis to build those relationships. So that's it. Okay. Now, if they do say yes, then you're going to go to here, right? So timing and motivation is key. So if you hear anything that says, I'm thinking of selling, we're not sure when we can, if we can, I'm not sure I have enough. If you hear anything that smacks of I'm open to selling, you go right to this question. What's got you thinking about making a move? Okay. If they tell you specifically, then you're all set. Just run with the rest of the questions. If they don't, we've got these little prompts here that you can ask more. Okay. So just feel free to dig a little deeper. So here's motivation. It's got to be real, not just wanting to test the market, especially right now. That could change again if we get to this situation like we had over the last couple of years, where huge shortage of inventory and more buyers. I was watching Barry Habib the other day. Barry Habib he has MBS Highway, and he talks. He's super expert with mortgages and the real estate industry and stuff like that. He said that he believes that interest rates could go down as low as 5 sometime, after June, either before June or after. He said within a month, either way. And he said if that does become the case, 5 million more people will become able to buy a home than can right now. So that's legit right there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's huge. We're actually jumping on a call with him today.
Okay, nice. Yeah, he's amazing. So anyway, he said that you follow him, he's as Zig Ziglar would say, he tells you it's going to rain, you put your buckets out, right? So that's kind of how it works. But, the thing is if you do have more buyers, and quite honestly, with the shortage of inventory, you should be circle prospecting specifically for people. I've got the Jones family. They're desperately looking for a home. Not desperately, don't say that. Hey, they're looking for a home. They're pre-approved. They want to move into your neighborhood. Are you sure you don't know anybody? Or, I'm saying, so some people maybe just take a flyer. And right now, they can command a fairly decent price in light of what's going on. In fact, we've looked at Altos before, but if you go and look at Altos research and just look up your city, you'll see that home prices have rebounded 10, 15%. I mean, some parts of the country 5%, but there's been a huge rebound in prices since the drop. Some markets got hit really hard right after interest rates tanked.
Yeah.
Or should I say went up, June. Most markets saw something like between October and January where they hit the bottom, but we're already on our way back up in a lot of places. So definitely worth prospecting, circle prospecting to find sellers or to find homes for your buyers.
Yeah, we actually didn't take a hit too bad at all. Dropped a very little bit, but we came right back. So,
Well,
and
not only that,
we just had somebody tell me one of my agents lost a bid 90,000 over asking. So,
it's happening again because there's just
yep.
not, and here's the thing, there was a period probably since last June to January of this year where if somebody's going to sell, you probably had a chance to get closing costs and buy downs on rates, but that generosity is slowly going away. So
Yeah.
um,
And hey, that with that being said, if somebody, and you guys, you work for a company, right?
mhm,
Every realtor works for a company. You don't just work for yourself and the clients you have.
mhm.
So you can ask your broker, like who.
Just talked about the market and stuff like that, but the whole point is it's not a bad time to sell for most people. So if we want this motivation, we prefer a life event, birth, death, getting a job, leaving a job, marriage, divorce. We prefer that. But at the end of the day, as long as it's not something like hey, I'm trying to test the market, because the market probably isn't in test mode right now. It may be in a couple months, but little tough right now. And then the time frame, right? We're looking for 90 days or less, unless it's a luxury home that takes 6 months or longer, and that they want to put it on now, but it's going to take time. So ideally, this is what we need to hear. And then if they're willing to meet, I'm assuming you're not already committed to another real estate agent. Always good to ask that. And then this right here, because it's an ISA script, you probably wouldn't say this right here. Um, I like the universal offer. What I'd like to do is come over, take a look at your home, give you an updated value of what it'll sell in today's marketplace. I'll also go over what to do and more importantly, what not to do to get the most amount of money for your home. And then I'll cover the fees and costs associated with getting your home sold, so you know exactly how much you're going to walk away with at closing.
Yeah.
When's a good time to do that? So I like that. And because this is recorded, you can go back and listen to that again. Right, because you don't want them thinking you're coming over just to give them a market analysis, then, or that you're just going to give them tips. You want to let them know you're coming over to list them.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it in a nutshell. So if they don't want to do anything here, then you go right here to the market update. If you get all through this and they still don't want to do anything, go back here to the market update. Try and get everybody's email that you can. If they don't want to give you their information, no problem. But you're looking to set them up on a market update. Does Real, or I mean, there are companies out there that offer automatic updates through their software program or through their CRM. So if not, you can go get something like Real Market Reports, or depending upon how big your organization is, you probably can just go to Altos Research and download the market update. I like to use something like Loom and record like a 2-minute market update with what, and showing people what's going on in the market, and then save it and then send it out to everybody once a month. You can also put it on Facebook and social media. That's a good way to create some branding around it and add some value to, what people otherwise may not spend a lot of time on, but would like to know.
Yeah. So I have two things there. So number one, a great software is HomeBot. So HomeBot.ai is doing great for me because it engages the owner. So the homeowner gets emails saying, "Hey, your equity position has moved up,"
Mhm.
and initially when you put your list of sellers into it. It'll email them and say, "Hey, we see you took a mortgage out in 2012 for 6%. Is that correct?" And homeowners will go adjust it just to calculate everything, and they love to see what's going on in the neighborhood. So HomeBot to me is one of the best seller, watching the market updates. But
Mhm.
your CRMs, whatever company you're with, Keller's got Command, EXP's got KV Core, we have Chime, and then the Loom video, there's another one called High Note that just came out. I saw some realtors doing some amazing things with that. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and kind of show one of the scripts that we use. Can you see this?
Mhm.
All right, cool. So This is just a general script, just like, what Wally went over. The biggest thing, we actually had people in the office here doing calls last week. What I tell everybody is just rewrite this opening to make it as comfortable as you can make it. And that's what you need, right? That it's the 3 to 5 seconds, the first 3 to 5 seconds to get that script out when you're talking is where, the salesmanship happens. And if you haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street do his actual training, Jordan Belfort, straight line strategic, right? I think that's what it's called. So Google it, right? Do Google on YouTube. He's 3 to 5 minutes of, you have to be sharp as a tack, know your stuff, and energetic. So do that when you're making your calls, have your opening, because the opening is what you practice when you're doing your script and role play. And at that point, once you're past getting the marbles out and you sound very smooth, the sellers will be open to having a conversation with you. And from there, it's rapport building and into, if you do get a yes, then it's the closing questions or the seller counseling interview. And, from there, these are great leads. And that's why last week in my office, there was a lot of agents calling this type of lead because it's kind of the easiest, right? Expireds are a different animal, and so are for sale by owners. They're okay, but, in this market, we do have, everybody seems to be having a lot of people that can't find a house. So this is a great way to go after the neighborhoods. Oh, you're muted.
I dropped the link for that video in the chat if you want to grab it and share it with people. I can also play it right now. It's only 52 seconds, but
Sure.
you want to play it?
Sure.
All right, cool. It's a great video, and guy's a baller, obviously.
Yeah.
He knows a thing or two, right?
Yeah, I actually played this for my kids are making solar sales calls. So I played this for the room of people that they were with.
Nice. I love it. Here, so let me do this. And let's do this. Nope, that's not the one. Let's do this. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Boy, I get tricked by Facebook. They have the volume thing here in the bottom right themselves. They like triple stamp the volume to make sure it doesn't come up. Hold on, let's go back. Here we go.
The magic moment was when I looked at my 12 schmendricks, as the phrase goes. They couldn't close rich people. I could, Danny could. And I realized in this one moment that I had a certain way of speaking that was allowing me to immediately take control of the conversation. But in those first few seconds, when you open up your mouth, you got 4 seconds. You got to establish, number one, that you are sharp as a tack, that you're enthusiastic as hell. You got to be perceived as an expert in your field. You got 4 seconds. Sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field. We want to do business with experts.
So anyway, that link is in there. I'm sure you'll share it with this, but fact of the matter is, and it's funny because face to face, you've got a quarter of a second. So 4 seconds is a lot of time comparatively. If that makes any sense,
It does. It does. Because you're being judged face to face, you're being judged. There's your whole posture and everything else in the sales world when it comes to becoming that expert and taking control.
Right. So I've got some variations of that script to share here. And let's just take a quick look at that. We've got some time here.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's start with just listed. So it's the same thing, right? You're just, again, it's just, now you can, in this situation, because it's a just listed, you can mention they had a company name, right? Hey, this is Wally, I'm calling from, and again, we like the team instead of the brokerage here. Or I think you can send a local realtor too. Since the sign's in the front lawn, you may be able to get away with it here. You may have seen our for sale sign at this address. I'm calling homeowners in the neighborhood to let them know we just listed the home for sale. We expect a lot of interest in this home, and you may notice extra traffic in your neighborhood street. They're probably checking out the property. We wanted to share the news about this listing with homeowners in the neighborhood just first, in case they have any friends or family members who may be interested in buying a home in the neighborhood. Does anybody come to mind? Same idea here, not asking them for anything. This is a legit question. That's how we ended up buying, our family home when I lived in New Hampshire for the biggest home we bought, our family home, because my, wife at the time wanted to live in the neighborhood near her friends. And so, what better way to buy a $430,000 house than to live near your friends, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, I kid. So the whole point is, this is a great opportunity for you to start talking to people in the neighborhood. People do know other people that are looking to move. And then from here, you just go right into the circle prospecting script, right? This is the same thing. If they say yes, do you have a name and phone number where I can reach out to them? If not, same thing here. We're moving on to if you can, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's just listed. Then, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. And then this is just pended, right? Same thing. House went under agreement, just right. And so, see, there's just pended and there's just sold, right? So there's two opportunities to kind of get a whack at the pinata here. Same thing, I'm calling homeowners in the neighborhood to let them know that we just took an offer on home that after just X number of days in the market. So sometimes that grabs somebody's interest. Sometimes you can say for X thousands of dollars overpriced. Never give anybody a percentage because they're likely not to do the math or they don't know how to do the math. So, and I know it sounds funny, but it's true. So listen, we sold it for $50,000 over asking price or whatever. So just something to grab their attention. Now we have and here's a great one here. We have qualified home buyers who missed out on the opportunity, excuse me, but love the area and we don't have homes to show them. Do you happen to know anyone in the area who's thinking about making a move in the next year?
That is one of the biggest opportunities right now in this market, right? Because when you hear multiple offers, you can confidently call that neighborhood. 10 years ago, when we were doing circle prospecting, you were just calling just to say, we need inventory, we need good houses. There was plenty of inventory. They just weren't selling. So we needed better listings, right? Nowadays, you can go in and just say, hey, yeah, we had 13 offers, so we got 12 more buyers that didn't get a home in your neighborhood. If you're considering making a move, when would that be? And that is an awesome question because it's not a salesy thing. It's not, bait and switch of any sort. So, to me, that's the biggest opportunity right now. And trust me when I tell you guys, like, you work for a brokerage. So that brokerage has agents in it that are not making circle dials. And I just had 2 agents ask me, because I listed one up next to Cherry Hill and I'm not going to take the time to call around them. And they were like, can I call? Sure. Use my sale. It's our company sold it, and, if you don't have recent sales yourself, you're brand new or whatever, trust me, there's people in your company that will be happy with you making the calls. So check with your brokers on that.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. It doesn't have to be your buyer. Right? If you had a listing, there were multiple offers, you can take the listing and go ahead and put it on the market. And right before you put it on the market, tell these people, listen, I'm listing this other house in the neighborhood, very similar house, a little more expensive, a little less expensive, whatever it is. But, I know this is a desirable neighborhood and you can go ahead and get that thing sold, lickety split, get a great testimonial for yourself. Okay. And then there's just sold. Whoops. Why does it keep doing this every time I switch? Okay. Because I'm closing the window. That's why. Zoom has it on me, I guess. Yeah. So, okay. And this one has over asking, right? So same thing. We talked about number of days, sold for over asking, finally sold. So there's no genius here. You just got to be willing to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And all of these lead into the regular circle prospecting script. Okay. And we'll give all these to you folks. Matt will make sure that you get them all. But if you're willing to make phone calls, you can get in front of some people and build a nice pipeline for yourself. And quite honestly, when there's a huge shortage of properties, this is exactly what you need to do to get in front of people down the road, and so that you're never stuck with a shortage of opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. Circle prospecting, in my opinion, is just one of the best and easiest scripts to use, or people to call, because it's not expired with a real estate, a stigma about their realtor, possibly for some owner who wants to do it themselves, who may not like realtors, and so on. So it's a great opportunity for you agents to kind of cut your teeth on speaking to people, right? And there's going to be a large percentage. Again, it's always typically about 1 to 3%, no matter what lead source. So, it's a great opportunity for you. So, anything else, Wally?
No, that's it. I did, it's, consistent action doesn't always produce consistent results, but it does produce success. So as long as you put in the effort on a consistent basis, good things are going to happen for you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we will catch up with you. Follow us on socials. We are everywhere. And in the bottom of the video, we are going to link at all the resources. So we'll see you again.
All right, guys. Thank you.